Alright, hello YouTube! Today I am reviewing Mad Max Fury Road, starring Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy as the main leads, of course. Notice how I said Charlize's name first, because she kind of steals she takes a cake, steals the show in this movie. She is, the bomb in this movie. She's awesome. But I will talk about that, in this review. So, Mad Max Fury Road it's 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 an interesting movie because I watched a review of someone and they said it's the greatest 80s movie, 80s action movie that never came out in the 80s. And I totally agree with that. Now, I forgot who said that, but may have been Chris Tucker. Wow, did I just say Chris Tucker? I meant Chris Stuckman. I'm sorry. May have been him. I don't know, but I watched one review where they said that, and I completely agree. Because this movie feels like the original Mad Max. Now, not completely, and it doesn't look like the original Mad Maxes. Now, I have only seen the first two. I have not seen Thunderdome. Why? Because it is not on TV. That is the reason why. And I do not want to pay money for something that I've heard is not that good. But I just love this movie. I just got back from watching it for the second time. Because it's just it's so good. It's I wanted to see this a second time more than I wanted to see Avengers 2 a second time, which I have not seen a second time yet. Which I was planning on until I saw Mad Max. I was like, "Oh my god." I just what? Like, "Oh my god. This movie is going to blow you away." Okay, but warning, there's some stuff that a lot of people may not like this, and I'm not offensive or anything. That sounded like I was about to say something like because it's offensive anyway. No, it's because it's just it's weird, and if you've seen the other Mad Maxes, it's as weird as those. Maybe not even as weird because those other ones, the stuff that they wear is it's hilarious. Okay, it's downright hysterical. And this movie, now the other one, well, now this movie, it also has the tone of the originals, as having the goofy, well, not as the first one. The first one was mainly serious, but the second one, and I've not seen the third one, but what I've heard, the third one is like, are both kind of goofy, not goofy, but have comedic relief in them. And this movie has tons of comedic relief in it, because, you need that in a movie like this. Otherwise, this movie would just be, it would take itself to so seriously, it would be dumb. And that has happened many, many times. So this movie, it's amazing how its tone is. Now, there are some weird parts in here. Not weird parts that isn't kind of away from the kind of goofy kind of slash seriousness of it, dark comedy of it. There is some sentimental scenes. Not is that the right word? I don't know. I'm not thinking straight right now. But just there's like a touching scenes. Well, how can I not think of that? Some touching scenes in this movie. With the character Nux, which I totally forgot the freaking name of the actor who played him. Nicholas Hoult, that's who it is. Who is what they call war boys, and he has a connection with one of the wives of Morton Joe, who is Morton Joe is interesting. If you're a fan of the other Mad Maxes and you've seen the other Mad Maxes, you're not gonna recognize him, but he's the same actor who played the guy who plays Morton Joe in this one is the same actor who played Toe Cutter. I'm pretty sure that was his name. It was Toe Cutter in the first Mad Max. Because which is interesting. Why did I say because? It's interesting. Yeah, Toe Cutter is his name. Now, right from that, when I first saw this trailer, after I saw the first Mad Max, I was like, wow, he has the white hair. Could that be Toe Cutter from the first movie? I was like, could this connect to the first movie like that? And I didn't even know it was the same actor at the time. And now and I was really excited for that. Now I recently saw the first two. I'm a kind of a new fan. I'm kind of new to the series. New as in a couple months new to the series. But it's very interesting because the series has had its this movie was going to be made in not made. It was going to be shot and made whatever in 2003 with Mel Gibson keeping his role as Max, whatever. Max Rockatansky, I think his name is his last name. Um, and though something happened and they couldn't do it, so then they thought, okay, we're gonna make a movie and and use the same plot, same name, and everything else. And it was going to use the same plot and same name. They thought, okay. So there were problems in the development of this movie, and this movie is so awesome because of the development of it. And why? Because not even half. This whole movie is practical effects. There's almost nothing in this movie that isn't actually. Well, okay, that's not true. There is a lot of stuff in this movie that is actually happening that a lot of people may not believe, but it is because if it go on YouTube, look up the B-roll, and you'll see that oh my God, that actually happened. That you'll be like, that's an actual explosion. That's what you will say, because this movie is practical, and I love that. I love practical effects. Just I I've heard many people say this, and my thing is use CGI when you need to, and this movie totally takes that. And I doesn't even George Miller doesn't know me. But is that I have heard many people say that, and it utilizes that phrase because it uses CGI only when it needs it. Really, with Furiosa's hand, which is I get this is really a spoiler. You see in the trailers, she has a robotic hand, well not hand, arm because her one of her arms is I don't know if it was amputated, but she just does that like half of her arm is not there, so she wears like a not robot arm. It's like made out of car parts, which is one of my favorite parts of the movie because you really see how they just put a bunch of stuff together and to make something that resembles the look of an arm, and that is really cool. That's one of the big things about this movie is that it's very creative. All the vehicles, they all are just a bunch of different vehicles like toppled onto each other. It's hilarious. It's funny. And and speaking of funny, again, this movie has a lot of comedic relief, and there are some kind of goofy parts in it. Now one thing I usually do not like when models try to act because they usually cannot act. Sometimes, not usually, but sometimes they can act. Or they try too hard sometimes. And I'm not trying to be against anyone offensive. That's just I feel that the movies I have seen where models are also acting in the movie, they usually aren't that good. Usually. This is an exception for me because I feel like they were probably one of the funniest parts in the movie. They had some really witty comments sometimes, and they were just hilarious. Like there was this one scene where this one guy was they were stopped. They were stuck in the mud, and one of the wives was like, does anyone else see the flashing lights and hear gunshots or something like that? It was I can't say it, but in like the right tone where it's funny. But she says something witty like that, and it's great. The acting is really good in this movie. Some of the best of this year. And speaking of best of this year, this has to be probably the best movie I've seen this year. Now people are gonna go in the if people are watching now, people do not get mad that I I like this more. I enjoyed this more. Well, no, I did not enjoy it more, but I felt it was better. It was a better movie than Avengers 2. I had more fun with Avengers 2. Some of the most fun I've ever had with a movie. But I just this it's something about this movie was just, I mean, it was mainly the action. It was so much fun to watch, and it wasn't like that action where it's like overly gory, where sometimes you cringe, and it's not that kind of action, which I like. It's fun action. It's exhilarating action. It's action that's like after an action, like after a scene, after a big fight scene, action scene, whatever is done. Like you're just like, wow, like, okay, whoa, that was crazy. Especially in the beginning, which is you'll see, this is in the trailer. You see like a tornado, like a sand tornado storm, whatever thing, and Nux said, he says, what a lovely day, the tagline of the of the movie, and this scene is fucking crazy. There's people flying in the air, getting picked up. It's insanity. It's crazy. Okay, this movie is crazy and it's weird, and that's what you need to know going into this movie. Do not go into this movie expecting like a Transformers movie, which the action is like, but the way it's filmed is nothing like a Transformers movie. It is, and it's so good. Oh my god, it is so freaking. It is the action is beautiful. It's like and again, speaking of beautiful, this movie looks beautiful. It's a very visual movie, and it really does great on that part. The lighting is really good. It's a very colorful movie. Everything's very bright, and you can see everything, even in the nighttime. The way they did with that is they made the whole everything with like a blue overlay. Except whenever there was a light, it was like its normal color, which I thought was interesting, and because it was just it was an interesting way of dealing with like a nighttime place without making it all dark. Now, it was not dark really at all. It just gave the illusion, which I liked. It really didn't do anything bad, really. I know that's kind of weird and bad to say to a movie, but it really didn't do a lot of things. It did almost everything well. Um, there are some parts there are some things that I I was kind of nitpicking because I wanted to see if they were there. Like I said, Furiosa, which is Charlize Theron's character, if I didn't already say that, um, she has like a metal arm or whatever, and I kept trying to notice all the green screen in this movie because this movie is almost all practical, so it's a little hard to tell the green screen. Now, it looked, and her arm was really good, was really green screened out amazingly. And I was like, wow, that's good. Okay, now there's one scene with the green screen that it reminds me of the scene in Batman and Robin when Batgirl, she's hanging off the thing. She's hanging off the it's in the motorcycle scene. And she's hanging off, and there's that terrible screen shot where the screen is shaking, and it's like it's laughably terrible. Um well it's just it's so bad. Yeah, it's just so bad, and like that's what this was this one scene, it wasn't even close to as bad as that, but it just kind of reminded me of it the way it was, because you could kind of see that it was a green screen. Let me cut to this so you can see what I'm talking about, but no, I'm not gonna do that. But if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. It's in Batman and Robin motorcycle scene, and she's hanging off, and the green screen's terrible. That's what I'm trying to say. And and it's when and the scene when that happens, when it looks like that, is in not very yeah, basically is the very beginning. It's you see Morton Joe, the bad guy, quote unquote. I mean, I guess yeah, he's the villain. You know, he it's right before he turns on the water for this whole civilization that basically lives under him. He's their god basically, though more of a tyrant, but they believe he is their god. Well, kind of. It's a little confusing, but and it when it shows over the shoulder, and you see him, and then you see the crowd, and you can tell that's a green screen because it's just I don't know why, but somehow I could just really tell that was green screen. I was like, yeah, that's wow, that's not hidden very well. I was Now I did not notice this the first time. I do not think I noticed this the first time I saw the movie. I noticed this today when I saw it for the second time. But I mean, still, even though that it's still a great movie. Now, let me tell you a fun fact about this movie. This movie was made 3 years ago. Yeah, this movie has been trying to be released for a while now, and that's interesting. And I feel like it took its time, and it's good. It's a good movie, and but that's the I don't know what part of the review I should call that, but that's kind of the beginning overview. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into like the plot and stuff. So uh, the plot is the main plot is that Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, is trying to escape, help these what they call the wives, these breeders for Morton Joe, escape from a Morton Joe. And because Furiosa is Morton Joe's Imperator, what they call them, and she drives what they call the war rig, I think they call it. And what the war rig is, it carries like gas or gasoline, as they call it in the Mad Max universe. Um, and from place to place, so she has to go to the fuel. I forgot what it was called, but it was like the fuel place, whatever. And but then she goes off course, and then Morton Joe finds out that you know that she's taking the wives, and then the main plot starts. The main plot is Furiosa is trying to take them to the Green Place, which is this magical place where she lived, where she grew up in, and Morton Joe took her from took her from. I guess I'm not good with words today, and then it's just this whole chasing. The whole movie is just a 2 hour long chasing. 2 hours and 10 minutes long. How long? I think it's like around 2 hours and 10 minutes long. 2 hours probably. It's about 2 hours, yeah. And it's just a big chasing. That's the whole movie, but it's so good because you always have this tension, because it does this well, where they're even the parts where they're slow. You know that they're behind them, and one way to do this is that there's this vehicle that I call the music truck that Morton Joe's team has, and you see it in the trailers. The dude with it has the dude with the guitar that has the flames coming out of it. And I guess that controls that active that fuels the car, because at the end, close to the end of the movie, you see like fuel coming out of it, and on the back of it you have these drummers. And most of the time, the music that's going on in the movie actually is the music coming from that truck. And this has to do with the tension of them chasing them, because there's some scenes where they're like stopped for a second, and either they're explaining some of the plot, or they're just something's happening, and because like the trucks that needs a fix or something, and so and then you can lightly hear the rock from the truck, and I was like, that is awesome, like what they did there. That's a really good. I mean, I thought that was so cool. Um, and a lot of this movie is like that. It's just like something that you would say, man, that is so cool. Because most of this movie is cool. Like almost this whole movie is freaking it's cool. It's just like it's so I don't know, it's an amazing movie. It's a movie that really is good with its effects. And in that scene that I'm talking about, and that uses the sound. I mean, it's creative, and this whole movie is very creative, which is good for a sequel. One thing I have to tell you, well, I'm just kind of interrupting myself, but this movie was directed and written by the creator and by the same guy who wrote and directed all of the Mad Max movies. So he's still doing it. Well, Beyond Thunderdome, he was one of the directors. There were two directors, and he was one of the directors. He was the main director or co-director. I don't know. He was one of the directors, and he also wrote it. He created the universe, and he's adding a fourth. Now, calling it the fourth one is a little weird. Why? Because there are a lot of theories that this movie takes place between Mad Max 2 and Mad Max 3. Before I get into that, I want to talk about how Max even has to do with the plot, because I didn't really explain that yet. I'm kind of getting off track. So Max then gets into the main plot because he gets captured by Morton Joe one day. He's just driving. Well, no, he's not driving. He's like standing out eating two-headed lizard, getting haunted by these flashbacks that I will talk about soon, because it kind of pissed me off a little bit. But he's eating a two-headed lizard, and it's pretty funny. And he looks like the guy who was in John Carter, who played John Carter in that scene with the long hair. I don't know, just like he turns. I don't know. And then he just gets captured because he like they just capture him, and then he Nux gets him to like transfer the blood to him, as because he's a prisoner of them, and so so Nux can drive, and Max is like stuck on the front of the of the car that Nux is driving with his Lancer. They call him like the partner, who's on the back throwing, bombs and these stick bomb things. And his name is Slit. It's pretty. Their names are funny in this movie. But and then How I Met Your Mother reference. They. And then, they attack Furiosa, and then Max, goes up to Furio. They do this whole the action scene, and then Max meets up with Furiosa, and he's kind of an a-hole. Not really. He just wants to get into the truck, and he just drives off. But then there's like a kill switch in it, and then she's like, "I can help you get that thing." Like she has this mask on that they put on him, and thing off you if you come with us to the green place, and then. There you go. That's the whole plot. Wow. And it's a plot that really carries the movie, because wow, I did not mean to say. It's a plot that it's not what makes this movie good. Like it's an interesting plot, which you need in a movie like this, where its main focus is on action, is on looking beautiful, and is very visual. But a lot of people are giving it crap and giving it bad reviews because of not having so much story. But really, I noticed that there's a lot of story and there's a lot of emotion in this movie. Because like, it's just so, it's a very in-depth movie, which is weird to say about a crazy action movie, but it really is, because it's just it gives depth to all these characters except Max. It doesn't really give depth because they don't really talk. Like, it gives depth by visual by visuals. It really shows you just the way they react to things and everything. And it's so cool how they do that. And a lot of the story is also shown through visuals. And again, people are not talking about that. But this movie is also, and it's the story we get is a good story. And sometimes it does stop to explain the story a little bit, but not so much that it really slows down the movie, because you always have that tension, like I said, in the scene where you can hear them in the background. You can hear the rock from the truck of the Morton Joes, the music truck from Joe, and you can hear it, and that gives a tension, a suspense that like, oh God, are they where what's gonna happen? You know, they're all the way over there, but they could come here. You get to them at any minute, and it gives you that throughout the whole movie, and that's what's awesome about it, is that tension, because it's a chase movie. That's this whole movie. Now, let me talk about the flashbacks from Max. Okay, so I'm someone who I'm someone who likes stuff to be canon and make sense. I like my things together, and I like them to make sense, and I like everything to just be one, one story. This movie on Max's origin, quote unquote, I guess, it has those flashbacks, and in the flashbacks, you see this little girl who's about to get run over by, like a truck or something, and I guess it's supposed to be his daughter. So if you know Mad Max 1, which has his quote-unquote origin, I guess you could say, I guess, it's just, how he got mad, this is the first movie it has that, and it doesn't fit. If that's supposed to be his daughter, which I think it is, because there's a part where she's like, in the flash, and it's not really flashback, but he starts seeing her randomly, and he says in the beginning, "I'm the man who runs from both the living and the dead," and that's one of the dead that he runs from. And you also see a bunch of other people in this one flashback scene where it just shows a bunch of people who have died because of him. And I couldn't tell if any of them were from the previous movies. I don't think they were, but it's just, and it's basically saying that he is responsible for his child's death. But really, his child was not. I don't think it was a daughter, for one thing. I mean, a girl, for one thing, because you never really got to see the baby, like, and they never really explained it. But I'm sorry if that sounded weird when I just hit the mic. It's, I don't know. It's just it didn't. It really was not. It wasn't. I don't know what they were trying to do. Like, if they were trying to show, maybe this is something that happened after that. Maybe you find it, because you don't really. I don't think you see the baby die. And I don't think they ever say the baby dies. They say that it's missing in action. I think that's what they say. Unless they say that about the wife, but I know the wife dies. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the wife dies, and this really made me mad, because I was like, well, that doesn't fit with the story. Now this goes into another thing that I want to talk about continuity, is that supposedly this movie takes place between Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior and Mad Max 3: Beyond Thunderdome. And it's really confusing to figure out when this movie takes place, because and the flashback slash origin thing, it doesn't add up. It doesn't fit with everything else. So it's really hard to kind of think about it. But then someone who I know said something that could be true. This person said, well, maybe it's just what he's imagining his child grown up. Because the child was a baby, and the child was not grown up enough to look like that at all. And so, you know what, that's a good theory. That would make sense. But then again, George Miller himself said that Mad Max Fury Road isn't so much a sequel. It's more of in spirit. It's more of a sequel to It's more of a fourth one. It's not really fourth one. And even when he first made the first Mad Max, he was not expecting to make it into a series. He wasn't expecting to make Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior or Mad Max 3: Beyond Thunderdome. And it's I don't know. It was just, it kind of made me mad, that whole thing, because I like I said, I like my stuff. I like the story to be together and everything. And but you know, what can you do? So that was that was my main gripe. Now, so now um, I'm gonna get into the maybe big spoilers, I guess. So I've kind of already spoiled it, but I'm gonna say my 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 rating. My rating for Mad Max Fury Road is not a perfect, but it is 4.5 Immortan Joes out of 5. Or if you want, 4.5 toe cutters out of 5 toe cutters from Mad Max. Um, from Mad Max 1. Because it's just it's a good movie, and it's not a perfect movie. Like I said, like with the green screen, but that's special effects. But this still is a really good movie. It doesn't deserve a bad rating, really. And I don't know how people are giving Bs. Now, it's probably because maybe they don't like The Strangers, or maybe they are mad about the story. Maybe they wanted more story. I don't know. But, I really like it. And that's why I gave it 4.5 out of 5. So right now I'm going to talk about, the kind of references and Easter eggs. I'm just going to talk about a couple of them that I like, that I noticed. So the first reference that I want to talk about is not talk about, but I want to tell you that was in it was there was a part where you saw like a musical thing, like where you wind it up. That was a reference to Mad Max 2 with the birthday musical box. And there was another one where in the beginning Mad Max tries to shoot off Nux's hand, which has this thing, this like handcuff that's connected to Max so he can get out. He tries to shoot his hand, and the gun, the shotgun, like, because it had bullets in it that he saw, and the shotgun, like, there's just sparks that come out and nothing out of where you put the shells in. Nothing happens. That's a reference again to Mad Max 2. There's also in one of the flashbacks of Max is you can see Toe Cutter's eyes bulging, which is a scene which happened, which is an exact ripped. That's exactly ripped from the first Mad Max, right before Toe Cutter dies. His eyes bulge out, and then he gets hit by the truck. And I think, I mean, I'm not gonna say all of them, but if you know Mad Max, you can find them. Oh yeah, one thing that really made me mad in this movie was when the V8 Interceptor got destroyed. I got so mad. I was like, no, not the Interceptor, his car. Because I love that car. It's a cool looking car. So there you have it. That's Mad Max Fury Road. I hope this review helped your decision to see this movie. I strongly suggest you do. Even if you don't think you'll like it, I think you should see it because this movie I feel deserves a sequel, and I don't think it's doing very well money wise because people are saying, I mean, opening weekend, it came out the same day as Pitch Perfect Dos, Perfect 2, which blew Mad Max out of the park with the not blew him out of the park, but it was got way more money than Mad Max did, and it's kind of disappointing because I feel that Fury Road it's fun. Now I have not seen any Pitch Perfect, so I guess I can't really say anything, but I don't know. I really liked Mad Max Fury Road, and I hope you see it, and I hope you like it, and alright, I will see you in the next video. Whoever's watching YouTube, I will see YouTube in the next video. Alright, goodbye. I mean, goodbye as in, like, to the next video. Goodbye to the next, till the next review, till next movie. Next review will probably be Ant-Man, or Jurassic World, Avengers 2, and Kingsman. I have to rewatch those so I can review them. So, see you next time. Bye-bye.